Don't forget to like, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. Catch us Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Fridays, catch us 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And then on Channel 3 from 12:30 to 1 p.m. Again, like, subscribe. Shout out to y'all, man, as always, showing this channel some love. You know the vibes. You heard the news. I heard the news. It was something that I think we were all anticipating getting into this week based on how Kevin Stefanski answered said questions earlier this week. But the change was finally made. We finally get to see one of the rookie quarterbacks. Joe Flacco has been benched after just 4 games in favor of third-round pick Dillon Gabriel. Dillon gets his shot in London against a Brian Flores-led Minnesota Vikings defense. And I don't know about you, but I feel like this will give a sense of energy to the fan base, to the players in the locker room. And I think that this will help out a bad offensive line, to be quite honest with you. Mary Kay Cabot was on our show earlier this week, and she said she believed that there's a different variation of this offense that could be ran with Dillon Gabriel in there. And we all know that this offense, this team needed a spark. Joe Flacco was just not getting it done. In 4 games, he was responsible for 9 turnovers. You look at the average yard per pass, man. You got the most pass attempts in the league. You bottom 1 or 2. I mean, you either 31st or 32nd in picks. Yeah, it's just like it was just all bad. This was not cool Joe that we had 2 years ago. What's your thoughts on the QB change?
Now, I think it was, first of all, I predicted it. I just want to be on record that I said Minnesota, they was going to make the change. For anybody, you go check the clips. I've been said it. I told you Joe was going to fall off a cliff, and he fell off that cliff 2-3 weeks ago. I to be honest with you, when I look at the offense and what it's been, it's become so unrecognizable because with even with Joe 2 years ago, he operated a lot under center. And when you think of Kevin's offense, it's always been under center. That's why when they went and got Deshaun, the conversation was, he said, what's one thing I need to work on? Oh, you need to work on your ball fake and play action. Joe Flacco 2 years ago, he said, he always talked about, I'm comfortable putting my back to the defense. It's like taking a picture. You snap a picture, and then when you come back from the play action, you look up and it's a whole nother picture. Like, I'm comfortable with that. We didn't do that. I don't think we did that at all this year. Like I don't recall seeing none of that, no play actions or anything. So, and I want to say maybe it has to do with his lack of mobility. You know, maybe he can't do that. He can't be effective no more because he can't move like that. So you got to get a guy in there that can do that. I think that will help Kevin be able to call what he wants to call. Remember, I keep telling everybody, like, 2 years ago, we ran the heck out of the Bang Gate. The Bang Gate is such a good play for West Coast offenses, possession wide receivers. Amari Cooper killed the Texans with it. Michael Irvin is in the Hall of Fame because of the Bang Gate. Like that Bang, we ain't seen a Bang 8 this entire season. And I'm just shocked by that because it's such an effective play. And we ain't had nobody run it. So hopefully, this allows Kevin to do the things that he wants to do with getting back under center, running those bootlegs, rolling Dillon Gabriel out to move the pocket, because that helps the tackle situation. If you move in the pocket, that tackle is pushing that guy further away, and now that quarterback got more room to operate. Obviously, it just seems like to me that you couldn't do those things with Joe Flacco. So Kevin always talks about, he's the best chance to win, or he gives us the best chance to win these games. Well, this is one of those situations where I'm like, all right, Dillon definitely gives, because you can do what you want to do. And you don't have to be handicapped on what you can call. You can call the playbook that you like, that you've known to come and love, that you design. You can do all those things. Now, guys got to continue to make plays on the outside as far as the wide receivers go. But I think that having a new quarterback in there, knowing that it's a young guy, I think like guys like Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku's going to be like, you know what, I got to help that young dude out. Like it's on me now. Like we ain't got Joe back there. Like if the young guy don't do well, it could be a direct reflection because I'm not catching the ball. So if anything, it's going to make those older vets start to lock in even more. Quinshon probably thinking, let me help him out. The best way to help a young quarterback out is a good run game. Let me run the ball a little bit harder to take the pressure off Dillon. So I think this is one of those things that the entire team has to raise their play to help the young dude get settled into these games.
Yeah, and I think he's stepping into a situation that's actually feasible for him, right? we talk about how bad this offensive line is when it comes to pass protection. But if you look at what Quinshon Judkins has done in 3 games, they can at least say that they check that green box when it comes to being able to run block. So you're stepping in as a quarterback, a rookie quarterback, getting your first NFL start with a solid running game and a damn good defense. And that's a recipe for you to be able to go out there and have success. And to your point, with him being more mobile, and they talk about him being a supercomputer and his processing ability, etc., then yeah, Kevin Stefanski should have a different playbook available to him. And I'm very, very interested to see how it looked. This is a young man. I got over 60 career college stars, the most college stars in college football history. We've been told about how intelligent he is, how smart he is, how well he can process information. And he's been able to sit as QB number 2 for the first 4 weeks of the season. Excuse me. So to me, like, I expect a quality start. And if I'm being real, I think this is a game that's very winnable for the Cleveland Browns. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, man, and how they performed last week. I think you're going up against a much tougher defense when you talk about our Cleveland Browns. Carson Wentz looked like a deer in headlights most of the time. And even with Justin Jefferson having over 100 yards receiving, he really didn't have that huge impact on the game, I thought, right? So if we can go out here and force some turnovers and, you know, put our offense in situations, I think we can have some success. You look at the Minnesota Vikings run defense, and them dudes get gashed. And right now, Quinshon Judkins is just revving up the engine. So it'll be interesting to see. The other side of this coin that is a head scratcher to me is keeping Joe Flacco as QB2. Mm-hmm. If we both know that Joe Flacco can't move, if we both know that you are limited in the things that you can do as far as in your playbook with Joe Flacco as your quarterback, then I'm not really understanding why Shedeur Sanders is not QB2 in said situation. I think we have reached that point in the season probably sooner than we expected, to where, okay, it's time to see the rookies. It's time to get that evaluation. And to be honest with you, just being bumped up the depth chart would have gave Shedeur more opportunities to earn more reps. So, you know, I'm not trying to speculate too much, but I am curious in Kevin Stefanski's thought process by keeping him QB3 and making Joe Flacco the backup.
I mean, honestly, I think just for this since this being Dillon Gabriel's first time out there, I think that they kind of want to make sure that if he starts to struggle or if anything happens, the easiest pivot is to go back to Joe, you know, because he's still got that chemistry with guys. You know, he just got out of there last week. So I think that that's why he remained as QB2. I do see a scenario where he's not even on the roster at the end of the season, Joe, I'm talking about, because if Deshaun Watson does get off a PUP, they have to clear a roster spot for him, and you're not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. You're going to cut one of them, and you're not going to cut the 2 young guys. So you're going to end up cutting Joe Flacco, but Deshaun will probably serve as quarterback 3, and I think Shedeur naturally becomes quarterback 2 in those situations. I ultimately think that's just how that one's going to play out. It is, but I understand everybody's frustration because everybody's like, Joe's done. Well, it's all about seeing the 2 young guys. And I still believe at some point, unless Dillon Gabriel just goes out there and lights it up, I think at some point we still will see Shedeur Sanders at some point of this season. He just got to continue to grind and continue to do the things that he's supposed to do. You know, make sure he's doing the right things in meetings. When they're asking him questions, make sure he understands the game plan. When he goes out in practice, I know his scout team and he's reading off a card, but still try to lace the passes in there. Show that you can make plays on a number 1 defense, you know, and things like that. And trust me, guys notice those things, and he will eventually get his opportunity to start for the Cleveland Browns. So that's my whole thought on that situation. I also think that it's a good timing because if Jack Conklin is able to go, which I don't know what his status is, but if he's able to go, now you got your right tackle back, which also serves as Dillon Gabriel's blind side. So right. you got your strength back on that side, and that would help him out a lot against the Vikings. But you called this a like they can win this game. I would say this is a must-win game because you talk about, really, to me, this is like the crossroad of the season. It's sad to say that week 5, but I think this is a crossroad because there's a difference between 2 and 3 and 1 and 4. It's a huge difference between the two. And you get to 2 and 3 and you look around this division and you look around this conference, not a lot of teams that you thought was going to be balling is balling like that, you know. Then next week you play the Steelers head to head. Essentially, they could be 4-1 when you see them. You could give them 4-2, and you get to 3-3. Now we talking about a whole different other game for this season. So to me, it was crazy to think that they made this switch in a must-win game. That means he has a ton of faith in Dillon Gabriel, because in a must-win game that could change the whole outcome of your season, you decided to bench Joe and go with Dillon. That means Dillon is more than ready to go, and you've seen enough that he's ready to go. And I'm excited to get to Sunday. Glad we ain't got to wait 9:30 as kickoff. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, man, we get to see him like bright and early in the morning. As soon as we wake up, we don't even get an opportunity to kind of get spoon-fed national media and get ourselves upset before we even get to the game. So I think that's going to be dope, man. Y'all let us know in the chat what y'all think. How do y'all think Dillon Gabriel is going to perform in his first NFL start? And do you agree with Kevin Stefanski by having Joe Flacco as his QB2? Or do you think it should have been Shedeur Sanders